Okay, she's rolling.
Well, today we're going to be doing some cooking. And what we're cooking is we're going to be cooking her supper. You can tell she's excited.
And who else supper? The cats.
The cats.
Alright.
We're going to feed 5 animals for 2 meals for about $2.
For 2 days.
Yep. $1 a day.
Yeah. And about 25 cents worth of oatmeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, now, explain why you're doing this.
It's much healthier for them, and it's also cheaper. Because everybody knows the price of a can of dog food.
Yeah.
This is about 2 cans of dog food for the price of 1 can of dog food. And it's also a hell of a lot healthier for them.
Well, it's actually, it would be actually more because
What, for the dog food?
Yeah, like Callie eat a can of dog food a day.
Yeah.
And the cats
Will eat a can
in 2 days.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it depends on the type of can. Yeah. They would, if you get one of those little gourmet cans, they'd eat one of those each meal. So it'd be 2 cans a day per cat.
Yeah. Now we started this. Why?
Because we lost 2 cats within 24 hours of each other. Bladder crystals. And bladder crystals are caused by commercial foods. It was a problem that was non-existent until they started making commercial kibbles. And one of the reasons that it happens is all the cooking process that they do for the pet food. It's pretty gross, and if there's roadkill found, they are legally allowed to put roadkill in the commercial kibble because it's processed in such a high heat it kills the bacteria. So you get roadkill bacteria in there. The bacteria is killed, but the meat is still rotten. They also, from veterinary clinics, they put the medical waste from veterinary clinics, including euthanized pets, and when they put them in the vat, they put them in with the metal tags and all. So you get all these minerals and toxins in the food, and those toxins create the buildup. And they also, from the feedlots, when they slaughter animals in the slaughterhouse, you get all those diseased body parts, and that gets thrown in there. So you don't know what's in there.
Right on.
And when you do know what's in there, you never want to feed them real food, or the canned food ever again. And this stuff, they grind up human quality meat and vegetables. And this one here is ground chicken necks and vegetables. So it has the bone in it. And the bone is ground up into a powder so that it doesn't have sharp shards. So they do get all their calcium and everything.
Now tell them about Dune, and after we started to feed them this.
Well, Dune was always fed canned food. Because that's what Great 769 had always fed his dogs.
And I had no idea. Because if I knew, that wouldn't have never happened. Yeah.
And his coat was greasy. He stunk horribly. He had the worst doggy breath I had ever smelt in my life. He was just putrid. And tell them about when he went to the bathroom.
Oh, man.
How bad that was.
Yeah, me and a buddy were walking the dog one day, and he went, and we put her in a plastic bag. You know, I picked it up, and I mean, it was rank. And it was so bad, it was permeating through the plastic bag. I don't know how. And so we came to this tree, and I threw it up in the crutch of the tree, and as far as I know, it's still there. That was about 7 or 8 years ago. But that was rank. But his eyes, tell him about the eyes.
His eyes were really cloudy. And he also had bad earwax buildup. And his earwax smelled bad. And then once we switched him over, he was probably about 11, 12 years old when we switched him over to the food. And within 1 month of being fed this diet, his eyes went clear. They never went back 100% because he was older, but the general overall cloudiness disappeared. It was just the cataracts that were left behind. His hair got really soft and fluffy. He didn't have as many mats as he used to. His stench disappeared. Even when he went poop, there was no smell to it at all. and it also got smaller. There's less waste product produced. And his earwax, I didn't have to clean his ears as often either.
Now, when
His breath was much better, and his teeth also cleaned up.
the following spring, after we lost the 2 cats, one of the cats couldn't pee, and we took him to the vet.
And the vet was convinced it was crystals. And I had told him that we did this diet, and he didn't believe us.
Yeah.
That we were home cooking for the cat, because nobody home cooks for their cat.
And he recommended his cat food that they sell.
Which they were on when the other boys got the crystals.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. He says to me, he goes, you know, you want this cat food? And I said, no. I said, it's too expensive. I said, you guys are charging.
And he doesn't eat it.
Yeah,
Checkers never liked it.
And Checkers wouldn't eat it. And I said, there's no crystals. He said, and he figured I was a cheapskate, which, yeah, I am to a degree, right? But not when it comes to the pets. He said, do you have enough money that you could
do a
urine analysis of them? And I said, go ahead.
To find the crystals.
To find the crystal. So he goes and he takes a urine sample, and while he's out of the room, Checkers gets down and he has a great big pee on the floor. I mean, he just floods it, right? Because he hadn't peed for a day. And the vet comes back and he's right sheepish.
He sees the pee.
And he sees the pee. He goes, there's no crystals. He goes,
what they did find was bacteria, and what it was is that he had a bacterial bladder infection, which swelled up the urethra and made it just clenched everything so he couldn't pee.
Yeah, he was tight. So I said to him, listen, tell me something. You've been a vet for a long time. He said, yeah. And I said, what did you do for animals like this before you became a pet food salesman? Well, he was really pissed, right? And
he just said they just let them die, and then he was, no, you didn't. There was special diets.
I said there were special diets, weren't there? He said, yeah. He goes, maybe I can find some. No, we don't have. He went and looked, and they don't have them anymore. So.
Well, I already have the special diet.
Yeah,
right?
20 years ago they used to, they would.
They didn't have.
They didn't have it. Oh, look, it's King Checkers the Lucky. He's coming over to see what's happening. Come on over, Check.
Come on.
Come on over. You coming over to be in the video? It's King Checkers the Lucky. It's a young Johnny Depp.
See, he knows that his food is being prepared.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think this gross about the cats climbing over everything. But you know what?
It's their home, too.
It's their home, too. And, oh, yeah.
And when we make our food, we clean the counter. So if you clean your counter anyway. And look at how happy he is.
And we don't get sick. I mean, we got so many germs from the cats and the dogs, right? We don't get sick. So
because our immune systems are boosted naturally.
Yeah. But no, this method of cooking food for these animals, and they love it. I mean, they just like. There was a day there was 2 days you did something, and I don't know what it was.
It was because I had cooked the same type of food a couple days in a row, and they got bored.
They got bored with it.
Because usually, one night I'll cook chicken, the next night I'll do beef, the next night if we have a moose
but you had fish in. Remember, you had fish in the freezer
there was
in the
fish
fridge.
in the fridge,
and they could
for the next night.
Yeah, and they could smell it, and they were expecting fish, right?
They said, "What is this? Beef and macaroni? We had beef and macaroni last night. There's fish in the fridge. There's fish in there, and that's what we want."
Right. But the thing is that this method, right? I mean, these guys.
And look at him. He knows that his supper's being cooked.
They're happy about it. They enjoy it. It's good for them, right? And I know that Dune, he just absolutely loved it.
Well, we had to sometimes drag him over to his food dish when he was on the canned food.
Oh, yeah, on the canned food.
And it'd just sit there.
And it would sit there. He wouldn't eat it.
It
was disgusting. And, anybody who's opened up a can of dog food or cat food and gagged, you put up your hands, people, any of you who've gagged. There's my hand, right? I mean, that stuff is rank. And I don't care what they say. Right? And I don't care if they have humans testing it or not. That stuff is rank crap.
You gotta ask what's wrong with the people who are willing to eat it.
Yeah,
they must not
I
know
wouldn't
what's
eat
in it.
It's the stuff, and like when we've done up roadkill for them, fresh roadkill.
Yeah.
Right?
Pheasant,
pheasant, rabbit gets hit. we find it before rigor mortis is set in, boom, it's gone, right? And
there was a rabbit that was hit, and the blood was still hot running out of the body.
yeah,
And I said, well, this is coming home.
and
I roasted up for them. They loved it.
yeah, they just go crazy for it. And beer, they got some of the beer.
Yeah.
And you know what? I left some beer meat in town when Scott did that jerky up, that beer jerky. Like we had to cut off the fatty stuff and all this, and there was bits and pieces. And I left it in town, and he did a roast. He did a beef roast in jerky, and there was a bunch of that, and there's about 4 pounds of meat in there, all set to go for him. Right? But I mean, they're as you can see, I mean, this looks no different, and you know what? Except for the lack of spices, it smells like any meal that we've cooked.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yep.
Right? I mean,
this is chicken, so it smells like frying chicken without the chicken spices and things that people put in there.
That's right.
But look at the excitement.
I mean, he's. And then at meal times,
he's hoping for a little preview.
Yeah, at meal times when we're there, and you're getting their bowls, you got their bowls all set up.
Yeah.
It's you're fighting off cats, right? I mean, and that thing, and he's there, and he's trying to fight his way in to get at it so he can start eating it. I mean, this is a great thing. So if your cats are finicky, I mean, smell that food that they're eating. A lot of them eat it because there is just nothing else.
And also they spray fish oil on it.
Yeah.
And cats with fish, everybody knows how cats react with fish. So they spray this stuff with fish oils to entice the cats to eat it. And with all the sugars and things like that that's in some of that pet food, it's addictive to them.
Yeah.
So they get addicted to the taste, and that's how some people have problems switching their cats over to home-cooked and raw diets.
Well, like most of the time we do this up when you're cooking our regular meals.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's no, like if we do pasta, she does extra pasta for the cats, or for the food. Same way with rice. If we're going to have rice, if I'm doing potatoes or something like that, I do up extra potatoes.
Make sure you hold the camera. You're not waving it around with you as you're talking.
We're on a ship. Right?
Yes, we're on a ship.
But, we do up extra. And so that's all you have to do, the meat, and then you just mix it up. The only difference between this and a can of cat food is a little bit of extra time. But the savings are so great. And
not just in the buying and acquiring of the food itself, but the vet bills. We have no vet bills.
Yeah, it's like, and they're all in good shape, right?
Yep.
Now, we lost Dune the Wonder Beast last April. He took a heart attack, but he was 14.
Yeah.
And that's the way he was. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that.
No.
Right? Now you're getting oatmeal, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how much oatmeal.
Just 3 handfuls.
Yeah, we buy oatmeal in bulk, so that probably represents about 25 cents worth of oatmeal. So you have 25 cents worth of oatmeal and $2 worth of the meat product, right? Or this here, and that's for 2 days. So you're looking at $1.13 or $1.12.5 per day, right? And that's going to represent about $400 a year. Canned cat food, canned dog food, for the amount of animals that we have, gets a little bit more expensive. Now the thing is that we have a butcher that makes this up.
Yeah.
What happens when this is not available?
If you don't have a butcher to pre-mix it, you do it yourself. That's how I started. We bought when I started off doing just vegetables.
Right.
And they had canned food, so I took the canned food and added a little pinch of vegetables, and just gradually added fully cooked meat to it, because humans know what happens if they eat a food that's completely different and more nutritious than what they have already been eating.
Yeah.
They have digestive problems.
And
And it's the same with animals. You have to acclimatize them. And also that's a major mistake that a lot of people who are doing this diet make of animals, is they just put this down in front of them. If they're used to eating one thing, they look at this and say, what is that? And they're not going to want to try it because it's so different than what they're used to. So take a little bit of this, even if it's just half a teaspoon, and mix it in with their other food.
right on.
And you got to have it ground up really fine so that you can thoroughly mix and hide it.
Now, because where we get this is 2 hours away,
Yeah.
sometimes we have to buy locally. And so
Yeah.
what do we do here? Well, what do we buy liver? We buy
We buy liver, we see if they bring in hearts. If they don't have any heart or anything like that, we'll get steak when it's on sale, or roast. And getting a roast is much cheaper than getting steaks, and you can cut your own steaks off
Yeah.
it. But we'll get a cheap roast, which is perfectly fine, and we grind it up in the food processor. When that is done, it has to cool off.
all right. So basically that's it.
Yep, now I'm just going to do Mortimer's. So.
All right, and that's it took you 16 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yep,
You finished?
yep. And that's dinner for the pets.